elected officials in general don't understand stormwater to begin with. It's a very complicated topic. It's easy to understand pollution and reducing pollution, but really the underlying reason to do low impact development is because of the impacts from rainfall becoming runoff and how much runoff comes off of concrete and rooftops and that type of thing. And so, or hard surfaces. And it's really hard for elected, I think, to get their heads around the nuances of stormwater management. I think more than not, they kind of see it more of as a nuisance thing that they need to deal with and have experts to deal with it. But they don't really understand it, and they don't really try to embrace it as something that they want to study and understand. I think for the most part, the cost of it's really kind of been a big turnoff in the last decade especially. And it's been kind of a negative really for elected officials more than it's been positive, like, hey, we need to do these things to protect the environment or to make sure our quality of life is there in the future. It's more of a, the state's making me do this, and so I just do what the minimum the state's asking me to do and not really get at the intent of low impact development or stormwater regulations. I mean, they really are in place so that streams aren't sterile where we live and work and play. It's really about trying to make sure that we can have development and have a healthy natural environment in the same location. I don't think we knew 10 years ago what we know now about what is required or needed to have healthy streams where we live and where we work. I think that that reality has come to fruition that it's very expensive actually to try to accomplish a healthy environment and in a developed setting. As we move forward and with low impact development especially, I think trying to reduce the amount of impact that we cause in the first place is the best solution than trying to engineer our way out of the situation into the future. As we've seen time and again throughout history, every time we try to go forward with an engineered solution to an environmental problem, typically we actually make it worse instead of making it better. And I think with stormwater, that's usually the case. I mean, we're trying to mimic nature, and I think that's a tall order for any discipline to try to accomplish. And I think with stormwater, it's the same, and it's public money at this point that we're talking about using to try to mimic nature and try to accommodate a healthy environment where it's developed, where the land's developed. And so it's going to take some time, and it's going to take a lot of money to try to accomplish that. But I think it's well worth the effort, because in the end, you don't want your children to not have an interaction with their environment. As elected officials or local governments, we have very, very few things that we could really do individually to try to create healthy environmental context for our children to be near. And I think this is definitely the thing that we can do as local governments, is to do our part, at least, in trying to provide a good high quality of life for our children to be involved and interact with nature near their house. We have to control stormwater to make that happen. You really have two options to dealing with the low impact development regulations. You can engineer your way out of the solution, which is essentially probably millions to billions of dollars for each individual city, or you can try to avert the impacts from during the development action. So trying to create a development that has less impact on the environment can really save in the long run. Integrating LID into our existing framework is going to be a big deal. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to take updating your right-of-way standards. It's going to take updating your zoning code, your comprehensive plan. It's going to take a lot of work. And I think if we do a poor job at it now, we will be sorry in the long run. So having a couple years to update our comprehensive plan and our standard details to accommodate low impact development, and lining that up schedule-wise with our major comprehensive plan and code amendment update, this is the time to do it. If we wait and not do a good job now, it will cost more money in the future to update it or correct the things that you did wrong during this 2-year process. I definitely think budget is going to be necessary. I think it needs to be identified as an expense that's going to occur not just in the Public Works Department. This is a multi-department effort, and I think it's going to take an effort from the fire department, the planning department, even the police department for that matter, to really get their heads around, what are the concessions essentially in the existing zoning code that we can make to create a place at the table for stormwater management in the zoning code. This is definitely a great opportunity to really get all the parties at the table, interested parties at the table when it comes to updating your zoning code or your comprehensive plan, and look at it as a multidisciplinary, multi-departmental update. As elected officials, to give a to put this on the right track, let's say, to have the low impact development code scrub actually be an effective tool to get at what I think we all want is a high quality of life, which includes a healthy environment. I think it's really important to kind of change the tone. I think so far what we have seen, or what we've heard at least, is that people want us to do the very minimum possible to accommodate the requirements of their stormwater permit. And I think that's a mistake. I think it's really important that we need to start thinking about it and having the tone that, hey, you know what, we actually do want healthy streams within our city. And we want to know how we can get to that. And then if you get that kind of context around the planners and the park maintenance workers and the utility staff, the stormwater utility staff, I think everybody can pull in that direction. I think if the drummer is drumming to, well, let's just meet the minimum requirements of the NPDS municipal stormwater permit, that doesn't have a whole lot of encouragement behind it to say, hey, we're doing something important, something that's necessary. It's just a really big tone change to say, you know what, we're going to fix some streams and they're going to be in this city and we're going to do that. And I think that's the tone that an elected official needs to take to make this actually work.